Cents Per Mile, featuring Charles Gracie and Paul Gibson, with loads of recruiting and marketing experience and backed by the largest driver audience in the world. We deliver carriers the driver perspective, find solutions, and help make sense make sense.
Thank you for tuning in to Cents Per Mile. I'm your host, Charles Gracie.
And I'm your co-host, Paul Gibson. What are we talking about today, Charles?
Brokers.
Oh, brokers.
Yeah. I mean, that's general census, but there's good things to talk about brokers. And then there's, trying to understand the good things about brokers.
Yep. Well, and I mean, we've done the Broker Tells All episode a couple times, and it's done really well. And, a lot of the times the responses or the questions that we get to give people usually have us asking, who hurt you? So we brought on some of those people who hurt.
No. We bring on the best of the best on this show. The best money can buy. Speaking of, how much budget do we have left in this year?
The people who got hurt by the brokers.
No, but it is one of the more popular ones. We get the questions answered that people have about brokers and how it works. We get to hear both sides from the brokers and people that might have problems with ways certain things are done. And then, hey, it's fitting time because we saw the broker transparency got pushed back to next year.
Yep. Well, and I'm sure that'll come up today. But what else will come up today is the same thing that comes up every time we do the show. So if you could like, subscribe, or rate, we are on Amazon Music, we are on Apple Podcasts, we are on iHeartRadio, we're everywhere, even YouTube. So like, subscribe, rate pushes us out a little bit further, and that way we can do cooler stuff like the stuff we're doing later this year.
Yeah, you can also go to centspermilepodcast.com. You can suggest a topic to be a guest or even to become a sponsor.
Sponsor? Who's our sponsor today, Charles?
TAFS. Factoring can be fun. Check out TAFS.com.
Yep, and they are fun guys. But also, because we have multiple guests, today we're going to skip the news, and we're going to go straight behind the desk with Tenstreet.
Well, it's time to go behind the desk with Tenstreet, and they sent Hendry into the show today. How's it going? Welcome to the show for the first time.
Yeah, super excited to talk about. So I know we're talking all brokers today. So Tenstreet actually acquired us back in February. So we're only on the broker. We do some on the SS side, but mainly on the brokerage side for streamlining driver communication. So centralizing everything around a load ID. What we found initially whenever we started is drivers don't want to download another app. As I don't, I was just clearing out my phone thinking like, why do I have to download 6 different airline apps just to get my boarding pass? So similar to that, drivers, obviously they're having to download MacroPoint, P44, Trucker Tools. So for us, we do it all via SMS. So drivers can send in ETAs, location updates via SMS. So just click a link within the text, provide an update without having to download an app. And it's also not a constant tracker. So drivers don't have to worry about being tracked continuously because, I'm sure they don't want the broker to know they're eating at the McDonald's or wherever it may be. And then also getting PODs at delivery. So sending in documents is not like the most fun part of the job at all for either the broker or the driver. So we make it easy. All they have to do is text a picture back like they're texting a picture to a friend. Obviously make sure it's clean and everything. But it's been really successful for that. And using it all via SMS is huge for a driver rather than having to go through another app and chat through that. So, yep. And then additionally, so as part of our Tenstreet acquisition, super excited about in terms of like driver level fraud, a lot of people are impersonating drivers out there. So the goal is to use some of that data to say, hey, is this driver actually working for this company? So that way the carrier they're not getting scammed as well as the broker. Because obviously Highway does a great job of carrier level data, but our goal is to build out a driver level profile to figure that out. So yeah, but super excited.
So you guys are having the conversations with the brokers out there, trying to make it a little bit easier for people to get a hold of the driver without invading on their privacy. If someone wants to find you guys, where can they find you guys?
You can just go to textlocate.com or hit sales@textlocate.com. But yeah, super easy for the driver. Make it really easy. So yeah.
Who can't get behind making it easy for the driver? Well, thanks for dropping by the show, Andrew.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
At TAFS, we offer unparalleled trucking excellence and service. Enjoy exclusive benefits like fantastic tire discounts and 1-hour advances for quick cash. Recognized as the top factoring company in 2023, we're your partner for success. Access business loans, manage finances with ease through our client portal, F2 fuel card, and mobile app. Contact us now to see how we can help your trucking business thrive.
Now it's time to make sense. And when we're talking brokerages, you have to look at this from a couple different angles. So we brought Brian Helton from Mercer Transportation in the house. You guys, Brian, have your own brokerage. How do you incorporate trying to walk the middle ground here where the drivers are happy, your company's making money, and somehow where you don't wind up at, in a meme somewhere like TQL or all the others out there?
Yeah. We treat them like people. We treat independent contractors like regular old people. We do things a little.
Yeah,
it's weird.
That's wild.
Yeah, and we make money. And if you pick up one of our brokerage brochures, we don't talk about family. We realize you're just out there trying to make a living, and we try to make that easier for you. I think the big difference with us is we're an owner-operator company. We're already used to dealing with guys that make their own decisions and are running their own businesses. So we just transfer that culture that we have here to the brokerage side, and we offer perks. If you get signed on with our brokerage, first of all, we're not just going out and finding loads on the internet to move them to slash and hack and give you a 3 times stepped on piece of freight. We're trying to move our customers' freight on dependable carriers, trucks, and trailers, not just move freight for anybody on anything. We're looking for partners to help us service our customers. So with that, when you get signed up, we give them a fuel card. So you can take advantage of Mercer's discounts. A lot of these independent guys don't have a big company's fuel buying power to get deep discounts. So if you buy with our card, you get discounts. If you want us to pay you on your card so you can get discounts, you can do that. So we have some guys they'll make sure they haul a load for us every once in a while just to get paid on the fuel card so they can save money on their overhead.
I was just going to ask, it seems like you guys take a more holistic approach on this. It's really trying to fall in suit with your guys' overall brand. These are real people. We want them to make money. We want them to be successful. These are businesses within our business, so they're partnerships. It seems like there's a lot of thought that's gone into how do we support them and make sure that they're successful, and in turn you're successful.
Yeah, you have to, man. If you're in our position, we have customers that we have to service, and we know that they're not all going to be. We can't cover every piece of freight that's out there available to us through our customers. So we have to partner with people we can rely on. And our thing is we want you to haul freight for us all the time. We'll give you a coordinator that'll look for freight for you while you're out there on the road. Not a lot of these independent guys have somebody in their corner when they need to focus on being safe on the road to look for that next load when they arrive in California or West Virginia or wherever.
So you guys aren't probably worried about like the broker transparency, the broker liability. Like these things are probably things that are like at the top of you guys' radar. You're probably paying attention to them, I would imagine, but not necessarily like detrimental to your business model.
No, not at all. This is, we're not worried about that. We know we're doing things the right way. I don't want to ruin anything for your sponsor today, but we pay these guys within hours.
Oh, I think that they would be here for that. Yeah, why get factoring if you can get paid on time?
Yeah, we will pay you faster. We'll pay your factoring company faster than they pay you.
that might be pushing it.
And we've had guys complain and say, I just want you guys to pay me direct. But they have contracts. We're not allowed to do that. We have to pay the factoring company. But yeah, I mean, we pay immediately. And then we chase our money.
I feel like that should be a marketing a message somewhere like, we pay your factoring company faster than your factoring company can pay you.
I don't know if you know the answer to this, Brian, but like, so you talk about these things and like, obviously you can get leased onto Mercer, but how much of that is available to people like owner operators without actually leasing onto you guys?
So all I'm talking about is these are services for brokers. These aren't for guys leasing onto us. You just have to have active authority, a good safety rating, and your 1 million in liability insurance. And then we go through a quick background check process. They usually wrap that up in just a few minutes. And once you're an approved carrier, you get the fuel card, you get our discounts, you get our tire discounts to help you cut your overhead. Because we realize, man, not all of these guys want to give up that independent contractor, really independent, running your own authority. We want to help them be successful. And right now, trucking sucks.
Not that California independent.
No, not that. Are they still a part of this?
Oh, I mean, it'd make a prime truck parking location.
I thought they had left the country.
Like, and you could even bleed that parking lot into Washington a little bit. I don't think anyone will be mad.
It's, man, it's a beautiful place to sit. But yeah, we feel like we're doing things the right way, and our goal is to keep independent contractors being independent, and we don't care if they lease on with us or if they want to get signed up as a broker carrier. We just want help moving our customers' freight and giving them good service. And if you're willing to help us do that, then we'd love to have you. You got to be safe. You got to be insured.
One last question before we move on to Pedro. I wanted to ask you, with all of those cool benefits that you can get, not necessarily being leased on, if I'm not leased on, do I still get to go to all of the like parties at Mercertown in Louisville?
We have brokers come in every year. They hang out at the booth. They come out to the party. They they're part of the team. And we've got our onesie twosie guys that haul a load of freight because they got stuck somewhere, and that's all. We never see those guys again. We've got guys that use a personal coordinator and talk to them every day. They stop by when they're in town. We take them out to lunch. We're for owner operators. That's what we do.
Oh, appreciate you dropping in and dropping some of that wisdom. I think it's important that we get, the carrier brokerage perspective, and then the drivers, because ultimately, at the end of the day, the drivers have a voice at this table. They have to. And anyone that says otherwise is just not checking the temperature of the room.
They don't have a voice at the table. All of us companies are screwing ourselves because we need them to survive.
All right. Well, appreciate you, Brian.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so next we have Pedro from the Logistics Lounge, who, much like us as podcasters with day jobs, also has a day job, and he brokers, and I will say, I do, I love brokers, the people. Sometimes, we question what happens, but ultimately they really are, as I always like to say, take it back to the Motor Carrier Act of 1980, and they're really just a middleman that came out of the symptom of that. So we got to be reasonable. We got to give them some space. Can't hate too much. What's up, Pedro?
What's happening, man? And
my guy, how you doing? How's life in brokerage?
Oh no. Let me answer Paul first. Let me answer Paul. I appreciate that loving and just delightful intro that you gave me. It's basically like saying I love you, but I don't love you.
Hey, man, what you do is like it kind of sucks that it exists, but it exists for a reason that you can't control, and it is necessary to exist. And I appreciate you doing that job, even though it's not desirable.
Now, Charles, you promised me he was going to be nice to me, and so far that's turned out to be a lie.
No, listen, I made no such promise. It's Paul. I mean, you get what you get. There's a warning label every time he walks into a room. But let's talk brokerage. Like, you are independent brokerage. You guys are out there right now, I'm sure you guys are having as good of a time as anyone. Well, probably not having a better time than the drivers out there right now. I mean, they've been taking the short end of the stick for a while. But what are you seeing out there? Like from a brokerage perspective, where do you see this going? What needs to happen for it to get better? I'd like to hear from you what you're looking for, because some people are asking for transparency. Some people are asking for broker liability. I want to know where you sit on all of these topics.
I mean, man, it's a lot of topics to try to cover. I mean, really, yeah. I'm saying you're talking about what will fix things. That could be a multitude of things. It could be the rates, it could be the parking, it could be detention and dock time. It could be the broker transparency, all of this stuff. To be honest, man, first off, I don't like to predict on what's going to make anything better. I don't know. I really don't. I think I can't put my finger on just one thing that is going to make this better. You got some people that say, oh, we should go back to regulation and do trucking that way. And then you're like, well, okay, well, you do that, you're going to push out a huge populace of the owner operators that are out there now. Like, it is not going to be a competitive market. Let's just get that right out there right now. The rates, do I think the rates should go up? Yes. And I want to make this clear to people. Me as a broker, I have no reason to keep lane rates down. The more money you make, the more money I'm able to make, and because majority of brokers get paid on a percentage, or they have a certain
Wait, are there brokers that don't get paid on percentage?
I mean, I'm sure there are ones that maybe just be full, salary and may just get some type of weird bonus commission or whatever, you know what I mean? But, most, and most of them, they work in their margin. So, it's, hey, 10% on a load, 20%, whatever. So I say that to say, more money you make a mile, the more money I make a mile. Let's talk about rates. We get this out here. Brokers don't set rates. Shippers more the ones that set the rates majority. And I would also say that the tech companies, like, well, the ones that everyone gets their rates from, I'm not going to name names and get myself a cease and desist order, but the sites that everybody goes and gets their rate.
You're not living if you don't get one of those, Pedro.
It gets there. Hey, listen, I'm trying to get canceled. I just want to get canceled on my own terms, and I want it to be funny. Okay, I want us all to laugh at it. I want it to be something meaningless.
Like, I felt like I didn't accomplish something because I didn't get my first one until earlier this year.
Yeah. That's it. I'm directly, but it needs to be meaningful. So
I always thought I'd come take myself out on the logistics lounge. So
hey, well, I guess I'm gonna take myself out. It's gonna be on your show, so let's do it together. We'll make a party of it. But back to the point. Comes that rate thing. A majority of the stuff that runs the rates in this industry are the tech companies that we're getting the rates from. Everyone's bidding from there. I don't care if you're bidding contract freight, spot freight. I don't care if you're bidding freight that goes to the moon. Everyone is getting their rates from that place. That's where it is. So, when everyone's getting the same data, how can it be a competitive market when you've got 15 people just on a broker side, maybe 50, that are chasing that load, all trying to get within a $5 or $10 margin to get that freight so they can just make their $150, $200 or whatever. And then that just trickles down to the driver,
And I get that. But I mean, like, there seems to be like some hard conversations where people don't always find themselves on the same side. So that's where I'm trying to wrap my brain around it. Like the broker transparency, I have mixed feelings on this. Like, and I personally don't know if it changes anything with transparency. Like if I buy a car when I go to the car lot and I drive down the street and it's cheaper somewhere else, that doesn't change the fact that I was happy with what I paid for at the car. I might be upset at myself for not doing the research. And then there's people out there like, well, it gives me negotiating power. If I understand how much their margins are, I could go work with a different broker, find a different partner. I could decide if I'm okay with them taking that much of my money out of there. So I'd like to know from your guys' perspective where you sit on the broker transparency thing. Like, I don't think it's a big deal one way or another. I think if it's that big of a deal where people want transparency, to negotiate, I can see that being a plus for a driver and an owner operator being able to know what they're negotiating.
On that one, I honestly don't care about it. I really don't. It's not going to affect my business one way or another. It's just not. Now,
because you're just going to be like, hey, I'm not going to give you that load if you want it for more. This is my margin. Go find a different load if you don't like it.
That's true. And I also want to touch on something that you said there at the end. And I hear this a lot too. Carriers say when it comes to broker transparency, oh, well, it gives me the ability to negotiate better. Okay, for what? The next 24 hours? Probably 65% of the lanes that run out there, those companies we were talking about that we get all the data from to rate it, those things are on 72-hour revolving updates. So the rate today, it may not be the same rate in 24 hours or 8 or next week, I mean, unless you're bidding on like contract, that's where I think that really could come into play. But that I could see it being beneficial. But a majority of the owner operators and carriers that are running the spot market, I mean, that's really going to do nothing for you. You know what I mean? Not much.
Now, I don't discount the pain there. I imagine, we know you're a good dude. You're pretty transparent on this stuff. So I could see you siding with it. Doesn't bother you one way or another. But for every one of you, there's probably like 10 that aren't honorable brokers out there that are doing, the stuff that are causing people to want this level of transparency. I imagine, they're probably taking bigger cuts. And I could see why people would be upset with it. But if my problem is, and again, maybe it's because I've sat on both sides and I haven't been an owner operator. So it could just be my not knowing. If I'm okay accepting the load from you, then that means 100 miles down the road, I should still be okay. It doesn't matter what it shook out. Like I was okay when I took it from you. Say no to cheap freight. If it's too cheap, don't take it.
I agree with that. And honestly, I want to spin that off into something, but I want to say something there. I do agree with that, but that doesn't make it okay for like the rates to be the trash that they are right now. You know what I mean? And that shouldn't, and just because the driver is okay, hey, this is the load I can get today. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean it shouldn't upset you. It should. And I'll say something to this, and I'll say I've never been an owner operator either. I drove for 10.5 years. I almost made the leap 3 different times, like literally found trucks I wanted to buy, and I just never did it. I was too scared. I'll be honest with you. It was scary. However, the one thing that I learned, just being a business owner period is scary. But I mean, man, when you're talking about buying $250,000 worth of equipment that you're liable for, that's a very thing. So I say the point to say that I think really the thing that is probably, I would say, would help most carriers that I learned when I was a freight coordinator and I was a logistics supervisor and in charge of fleets, was knowing how much it costs to operate my truck per mile. Like that was the most important thing. When I had 50 trucks, underneath my belt, when I was in working in North Texas, I had to know what each one of my box trucks operated at per mile, what I needed to be at to be profitable, my semis, my Sprinter vans, everything. So I could give that to the sales team. So when they went to bid on the freight and the contracts that we ran, which is mainly final mile, they knew, okay, this is going to be what we need to be at to make sure that we're making X margin on that. So I just say that I think, in my opinion, that is something I think is a lot amiss. Is that a lot of owner operators that I've talked to, they don't really know their true cost per mile. They factor in fuel, insurance, equipment payments, for other things, but it's like, dude, it's really everything. Every shower, every wiper blade, every blinker bolt, every scale ticket, every bit of it goes into what it costs to operate that truck. And then when you know that, you know what to cost, man. If you know it costs you $230 to run your truck, well, don't be bidding on anything less than, $250 a mile or whatever.
And I think that's important. But I think it's great that you came on and you said a lot of stuff. We talked about like maybe there are brokers who make salaries. It's kind of like recruiters making salaries. I'd be curious what Charles thinks about that. But either way, it's good to know that there are good people out there doing the job and not the ones that give it the bad name. And I appreciate the way you do business. If anyone wants to get a hold of you a little bit further or check out your stuff, where do they go?
Personally, best place to reach me is probably LinkedIn. You can just look up Robert Pedro Petersen. Promise you I'm the only one that pops up. For the show, Logistics Lounge, you can find us pretty much everywhere on all social media, or you can just go to logisticsloungeshow.com and that will feed you to everything that you need to know and want to figure out about us.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you, my guy.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Love you, dude.
Paul, here's what's going to be unique about this, because we've heard from the carrier brokerage side. We heard from the broker side.
I'm so pumped.
Oh, I am too. I want to hear the driver's perspective. And I want to hear somebody that's talked to enough drivers that they can speak on behalf of an entire core of drivers.
And been one.
Well, yeah, and there's only one name that comes to mind when you know who I'm thinking about, right?
Well, I mean, he's already here. I can see him.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why you're the smart one.
Oh shit. He's never been told that. Don't start that.
Oh, I've been told that plenty of times by Charles, but then he's like, shh, but then people won't think it's me if they know.
What? Lewie, you talk to drivers, you and your organization, OOIDA, talk to drivers every day, all day. When we're talking broker transparency, broker liability, and the problems with brokerage, what's coming to mind in that conversation for you?
Well, it's a big spectrum. And I mean,
Paul's been told that too.
Yeah, it's a big spectrum of issues and problems and stuff. And the biggest thing where broker transparency really comes into play is when there's a claim. That's the issues that we see here all the time at OOIDA. There's truckers out there who get confused and they think broker transparency means that the broker has to tell them everything before they even take the load. That's not correct. The regulation's very clear. It's all parties of a transaction. You're not part of the transaction until you loaded and hauled and delivered the load. Then you're a party of the transaction. That's when you can ask for this information. The way we see it, the way we understand it. We have a real rub with brokers who make truckers waive their right to that regulation, because we don't believe that any private industry has the right to ask anyone else that's a private industry to waive their right to any federal regulation.
Well, I was about to say, is it even legal? The way I've always understood.
I feel like as a guy who owns trucks, if, I can buy a truck and then I can tell the driver he has to waive his right to hours of service. I don't think FMCSA is going to allow that to happen very long.
No, but check out M2M logbooks.
We don't understand why they've allowed this to be waived for 40, 50 years now. But anyway, with that being said, where the problem comes, again, I want to go back to it. Really, it comes down to when there's a claim. Because unfortunately, what we see happen is trucker picks up a load, delivers a load, consignee signs off on the load, trucker thinks there's no problem, he leaves, and a month later, week later, 6 months later, whatever, he gets hit with a claim. Maybe it's $500, maybe it's $1,000. The funny thing about this, a lot of times, especially with our favorite three-letter broker, TQL, is it's always an even number. And, we know that nothing's an even number in today's world. But the problem is, you ask for documentation. What is this? Well, they don't want to show you. They don't want to tell you. And they point back to, you've waived your rights because it's and excuse me for getting a phone call. I forgot to turn my phone off. Anyway, they want to waive their rights, or they say you waived your rights. We don't have to tell you. There was a claim on this load of tomatoes or whatever. I mean, it's going as far as we've seen trucks. Now, they have given you a little bit of proof, but I don't think this is TQL's business. Our trucker hit a light pole or something supposedly in the parking lot. And TQL is now saying, well, you got to pay us for that pole that you hit, and then we'll pay them. Well, the trucker doesn't know whether he hit the dang pole or not. I mean, and that should be between the people on the property and the trucking company. TQL doesn't have a dog in that fight, as far as I'm concerned, as far as we're concerned. But that's where this really comes into play. And, hats off to the broker who was on here for me. He doesn't have a problem with it, and I appreciate that. Wish more brokers. I mean, usually what the brokers hide behind is, well, we have contracts with these customers and our shippers, and we have non-disclosure agreements, so we can't divulge that information. Okay, well, yes, you can. You sign a non-disclosure agreement with the motor carrier as well. And if the motor carrier does the wrong information, then you go after that. You need to explain to your shipper that you're hiding behind that this is a federal regulation and you have to comply with it. And you will make the trucker sign a non-disclosure just like you signed, and so on. That's why these things are out there.
Well, and if you can't trust all the parties in there, then you shouldn't be working with them. Scrutinize the partnerships better.
And I can't credit the gentleman who was on here before me enough too when he said truckers need to know their cost of operate. You do. Why would you take a look? At the end of the day, broker has margins, truckers have margins, everybody has margins, shippers have. We all have margins.
It's business.
And I don't doubt for a fact that brokers lose money on loads, just like sometimes truckers lose money. I'm sure that happens. Broker transparency would probably highlight that more to show. But with that all being said, I don't think brokers are driving rates down. I think overage of trucks and capacity from COVID has what's driven rates down.
Wait, but there's a driver shortage. I read that somewhere.
Some guy sitting beside me in a hearing a couple months ago said that too, but it doesn't mean just because something said doesn't mean it's true.
There's also not a parking shortage anymore?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I found that out last week too. I mean, who knew,
Speaking of hot takes, we're about out of time, but this is our third time doing like the Broker Tells All episode. Thanks to everybody who came on. But Lewie, I'm going to give you the privilege of continuing a conversation that's gone throughout all 3 episodes. The first time we did it, a broker we had on said that broker transparency is socialism. And if you like broker transparency, you hate a free market. Yeah. The second time, Sage, who didn't make it today, called it communism. So I'm going to leave it to you, Lewie. How do you feel about a free market and broker transparency?
It's still free market. Again, I said, you're not a party to the transaction. So you pick up the load, haul the load, deliver the load. So it's still free market as far as I'm concerned, because that broker, whoever you are, you have the right to post that load and offer that load for whatever amount you want. Truckers have the right to take that load for everything. Whether we like it or not, whether brokers like it or not, mass majority of brokers are just honest, hardworking people like truckers. But just like there's always that 10% of bad people who want to, and I know, I work for freaking freight agents and stuff that I know when they got the opportunity, they scammed as much as they could off the top. And unfortunately, that's the way this works. And just like a trucker shouldn't take advantage of shippers and brokers in an up market, brokers and shippers shouldn't be taking advantage of truckers in a down market, but that's what happens. But the thing is, the trucker, he doesn't have anything to make informed decisions off of, and he has seconds to make up his mind right now in today's market where to take that load. So best thing for him to do is work with people he knows. If he can get some transparency, he can find out really quick who the honest brokers are and who the crooks are. And if he's working with honest people, he's going to go back and use that honest person. And the broker should be using the honest trucker who gets the job done. This all comes down to relationships. And somewhere through COVID and trucking, we've lost our relationship arm of transportation. And we need to get that back. Know who you're working with, know who you're working for, treat them fairly, and everybody will win and be successful.
Well, there you have it. 3 different takes over 3 times that we've asked this, Paul. I'm feeling pretty pumped about it. We had a great lineup of people that represent trucking today. You had Brian on the carrier brokerage side. You had Pedro, who's the honest broker. And then you had Lewie, the voice of the owner operators, the voice of the independent operators, the drivers out on the road. I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah. No, I mean, I thought it was good, and I thought it was a good conversation. And it really just stems from, it is in the industry. We all kind of have to work together. It just sucks that some people, make it tough.
So it sucks that some people suck.
Right. Pretty much. It also sucks to suck. And it sucks that we're out of time.
I'm Charles Gracie.
You're just gonna leave me hanging like, okay, I'm Paul Gibson. See you next time.